See the last driver on the grid in the Alpine into that final grid slot alongside Merckx on row number 9. Here we go then, about to get underway for what should be a very exciting Portuguese Grand Prix. Midzi and Griffiths on the front row. 5 lights going on now ahead of the drivers. Lights out and we are underway. It's a great getaway there from Midzi on the left-hand side down towards that first corner. Griffiths falls into line. They also went 4 abreast into that first corner. Corey holds on to 3rd, crowding in 4th. Crispy, oh, he's dropped back big time here, but he's trying to go back up in the order, but he's down to 7th here, so not the best of starts. Midzi's gone away really well. Corey goes too deep there on the exit turn 3, and Crowding's going to be all over him here. And there goes Crowding up into P3 behind them. They're going side by side down towards the hairpin at turn 5. Chris is just behind him trying to capitalise on that as Paraquix battles Ogween for that 6th spot. It looks like the Hash driver will get the edge on this occasion. There was a bit of contact there. Brilliant start from Midzi though. He's currently around 4/10 in front of Griffiths, and it's another second back to Crowding as they reach midway through that second sector on this first lap.
It was actually quite clean. I was like, watching the battles at the back, it was actually clean. However, I think the most important thing, obviously, Midzi getting away, good start, but the top 2 are already out there, rest of Crowding, and that's if that says how that is at the end of lap 2 onto lap 3. Those 2 are going to be pulling away from the rest of the field. As the strategy comes up, there was move at P11, that's division on Connor. They were battling into turn 5 for sure, commentating on what's happening at the front, and Connor doesn't give division much room, but you know that's fine. And Connor is up into P11, and he is still in the range of Kevin. He was the leading medium time runner. I think had a very good start to Kevin. If I get the position changed up. Wait, you only get 1 position actually, but the biggest gain is actually Crowding with 2 positions, and the biggest loser is Ogween in P7 for that on the Red Bull, not having the best of that ones.
Definitely not the best of starts for the Red Bull driver there, who's trying to close up in the championship. But as of right now, it's that championship leader who shows the way. Midzi into turn 5 on the 2nd lap. Griffiths right behind him here. Crowding leads what will become a DRS train on the next lap. He's being closely tailed by Corey, Crispy, Paraquix, Ogween, Racewell, Azad, and Kevin round out your top 10. Of course, divisions dropped back 2 places here on this opening lap. During the opening lap, having been passed by both Kevin and then Connor. We saw him make the pass in the penultimate corner on the last lap as Kevin is a little bit squarely in front of them. Connor will be looking to try and attack if he can get close enough, but I don't think he'll be able to pull the full move for the time being. It's still very close here, all single file. Look at how much Griffiths and Midzi pulled away. The gap now 2 seconds between Griffiths and Crowding, so this race is definitely going to be looking like a 2-horse one up front should things stay as they are. There's still a long way to go, and it could turn into a 1-horse race as Midzi's pulling away from Griffiths. The gap now just under 8/10 as they fly off the last corner and back towards the start-finish line. Griffiths has used half his battery in the opening 2 laps, and he's trying to get close. He's trying to stay close to Midzi in order to use that DRS to his advantage. DRS now being enabled as we get the message through from race control there, as Midzi goes back to turn 1, still in the lead. Keep an eye on this battle here between Crowding, Corey, and Crispy. Crowding gets all out of shape. It goes over the sausage curve in turn 1, and Corey's all over the gearbox, right up the chuff of that Aston Martin, trying to get past him. He's going to have DRS to help him down into the hairpin at turn 5. He's gone a bit wide there, so he doesn't get the best of exits. Crispy's going to try. He might try and go the inside. Corey doesn't try and go the inside of Crowding first. Then they go into the hairpin. It's Corey who gets the jump, and Crispy at the inside as well. He could try and take 2 positions here. He's now side by side with Corey through turn 6. They go side by side here. They go into the double right of 7 and 8, and Crispy is forced to back out there. Corey gets the edge on this particular occasion, and it's up him up to the podium places, but it's not over yet because Crispy might try and go around the outside if he can. Up into turn 9. It's going to be very tight. Here he goes. He's going to look to the inside, but has to go back into line at the end of it. Great stuff there. Corey's made up a couple of places. Crispy was made up 2 places in the run through sector 2. So unfortunately, he has to back out. He still gained 2 places in his opening few laps. And look at up front of Midzi. He's now put Griffiths out of DRS range. So as of right now, it looks like that fight's over. And we'll continue looking on at Crispy and Corey battling for this final spot on the podium. They come now for the last corner, back up the hill towards the line to begin the 4th lap. Crispy breezing past the Williams as they make their way down the hill towards that first corner. I don't even would have even needed the ERIC he's using there on the exit of the last corner. Crispy now into 3rd place.
Yeah, as like we said, Griffiths losing their rest of Midzi, that's crucial for both their racers. Brilliant stuff from Midzi, although Midzi is now out of ERS at the moment, and ERS is very hard to save. Zydra just have 20% more, but even still 29%, it's not a lot. There's one more battling to turn 5. Always Crowding sends it down inside, and Para's going to get involved, and it's all a bit of a mess here. As Crowding's really struggling for race pace, although it's, you know, putting out 3 second gaps to the top 2, and then losing places to Crispy and Corey respectively, and he's getting all out of shape at turn 8, and that's going to allow Power to be able to be opportunistic and make a move, and could go down the side of turn 9, and then turn 10 the Craig Jones is he going to go down the inside? He is indeed, and Ogwe might be able to shape up crowding, but yeah, crowding is really struggling for race pace, although Power gets a little bit out of shape, and crowding Crowd's going to stay behind him for the DRS, but yeah, Crowding is really struggling for race pace, I've noticed so far in this race.
Yeah, it's not looking too good for the Aston Martins right now, because Kevin did make him a place, but he's currently just trying to hold off Connor, who's about 7, just under 7 back, make that 6. Connor now closing in, he'll have the DRS to the advantage with the DRS train, because Kevin will have it from Zyjad, who's trying to pass Racewell down this main straight. That will be seen too, he overtakes as these lot fly down that main straight and back towards turn 1 here on lap number 5. And as of right now, I think everyone's sort of split up there. It's a single file throughout the entire pack here. No one going for any moves, have to wait for the DRS to be redeployed. Corey on the chase trying to get P3 back from Crispy, but he's just not looking to go for a move.
You say that, Zyjad's going to make him a race roll here. He's going to go around the outside of turn 5. We've got the run to turn 4, and he almost hit Aubrey, he did roller there, but Roller just about keeps ahead of Zyjad though, just fends him off in turn 5. But to be fair, you mentioned Kevin, but to be fair, he is on the medium compound tyre, so the longer he stays in DRS, the better. I say that though, Context curse, he just lost DRS through that corner, so that is now Kevin out of DRS, and then he can get it back in the final sector. So that's crucial for this race actually. If he can keep a hold of his train, that will only help this race and will help for later on. And Zyjad's very key to get past a last season champion race roller.
Yeah, they come now through those last corners here, making their way back through to start the 6th lap of this Portuguese Grand Prix. Look how close Zyjad is now. The gap is under a quarter of a second as they fly through the final corner. Of course, Racewell chasing Ogwe, and the gap half a second between those two in front.
Ogwe's going to get crowding here. Crowding's lost DRS, he's really struggling with race pace, and Ogwe should be able to make a move into turn 1.
On the ERS and DRS to that first corner. Ogwe takes it, but I thought it was going to go a little bit wide there for a moment as Roller holds off Zyjad through that first corner. He's looking around trying to pass Crowding as well. So it looks like Roller's got his hands full.
Connor and Kevin go side by side to turn 3, and Connor actually lets Kevin through there and cuts off division, and that's going to allow Monkey to get involved. It's battle for P12 now for some division and combat. He's goes down the inside, keeps it clean, and Connor has to leave room on the inside because he's gone Alfa Romeo diving at him, and they're going to go side by side through turn 6, 7, and maybe 8 of Samsung corner. Let's see a division keep on the inside. It's very easy to spin on the inside, and he's done all that making slight contact. As also as Monkey might also get involved, but as well as Racewell gets past Crowding as well. Racewell pushes Crowding off the track.
Oh, and around goes the race roller. There he goes, skidding off at the exit of turn number 12, if I'm not mistaken. And that is very unfortunate for the Drivers' Champion, who finds himself down in 17th place. Only driver behind him being 7. The Williams, not quite sure what's happened to him there. Did he make a stop earlier on the race and we just missed it? Nope. He's stayed on those medium tyres since the start.
I think Sam's made a mistake. I know he dropped the last turn 1, but he made a mistake, and that is Race Roller and Crowder making contact at turn 11. And in the meanwhile, Riggs is going to get past Merckx in P14, as he should go down this side turn 1 fairly easily, and he does. We have a massive incident early on in the race. No one wants to sit, of course.
Keep our eye on Merckx, who is trying to go for P14. I think he's going to go around the outside there on the exit turn 3. That car feels consistent, looks consistently on the limit. It doesn't look like he's got. I'm not quite sure that's something with the setup or what, but it doesn't look too good at the moment. The setup on that Ferrari as it stands. Keep an eye out here on the race between Division and Combat here. Those two are running very close. Look how close Division gets in turn 8, but it's not enough. He gets too poor an exit, and Combat moves forward. He's currently chasing Connor as Jib Jam now gets past Merckx in the race for that 15th spot. So the Ferrari now dropping back. As I say, it may have something to do with that setup, I'm not entirely sure. Combat all over the chuff of the Red Bull on the way into turn 13. Look at the gap between Mitzi and the SLR Griffith. That's now 2 seconds up front. Chris is another 3 back to them. Corey's still got that DRS. He's still within range, and Power Click's a half second behind. We've got more of a chance than Corey does of catching Crispy. Yellow flag in sector 3, and that's Sem. Yeah, that is Sem has gone off.
Yeah, he's not having a very good day. this Portuguese circuit. So having the races to forget, you do have those. And unfortunately, it is for the Williams driver today not having the best of times. As Combat is making a move for corner here, he's got a brilliant run out of turn 2. We're going to make a move into turn 3.
Going from the inside.
He turns it down the inside and pushes him off the track. Connor will not be happy
Oh,
with
there
that.
goes Connor.
So I'll spin, always hit the division.
And trying to hit the
And Division's
penalty.
got front wing damage. And Division's down round. So he's, Division race is pretty much over. He's got DRS and front wing damage, sorry, after hitting the back of Connor and after Combat pushed Connor off the track. And meanwhile, Riggs is going to go side by side with Monkey into turn 7 and he backs off into turn 8. But yeah, another incident, unfortunately, involving some of the drivers on the edge of the top 10.
Very unfortunate for the Division. He's thinking a safety car to save him now. I think he managed to spun it again on the exit of turn number 5. Mitzi now rounding the penultimate corner and through the last corner. Ogween passes Power Quicks in the race for that 5th spot. I think the hash drop back big time here. Zydra's now right on his tail. They make their way through the last corner. I think Power's definitely getting a bit squirrely there through each corner. I'm not sure what's going on. He's going to stay out here, so I'm assuming it's not damaging him like that. Zydra flies down the main straight. Power has no DRS and this should make the job easy for the AlphaTauri as he flies back towards turn number 1. And crowding could try and get involved should he get close enough. Power has the DRS through on the exit of turn 4, but he's gone over the curb there in turn 1, so he's lost a decent amount of time to the AlphaTauri, who's now focusing on chasing Ogween in the distance. But of course, the AlphaTauri now has no DRS, and that gives the Hash a chance to capitalise with using the DRS as well. Division gets hit with a 3-second time penalty, and that makes his race go from bad to worse. He runs wide on the exit of the penultimate corner and brings out the yellow flag there in second 3. I think he needs a safety car to save him now.
Yes, we also just missed that crowding. We're still struggling with race pace. He's also got a risk of time in this race. So as Division picks up another one, as he's going to retire in the pits, his race is done. So that's Division out on lap 9. Unfortunate, but incident happening with turn 4 with Connor and Combat. I'm sure that'll be put in the stewards room later on. As another man has been in this crowding. He's actually quite close to the back of Power Quicks, and his teammate. Kevin is on the median Copa Tower is now right next to crowding, and they started the complete polar opposite end of the field as well.
Yeah,
So
Kevin's in the
yeah,
right now.
he's got DRS as well, I think.
Oh, this could get tight. I mean, he won't gain too much because, of course,
Combat's making a move as well. Kevin's going slowly. What's going on?
Kevin may have a problem here of some kind. Not quite sure what's going on.
Oh
He's
my
forced
God,
Monkey, and there goes Monkey around.
Oh.
What on earth has happened to Kevin? What on earth happened to Monkey?
I think as a safety car out, as his Monkey is stranded on the pit lane. I think Monkey got surprised that Kevin was going so slowly, and he had to weave out the way and got onto the grass. And yeah, I think Kevin's wheel must have disconnected or something, or control must have disconnected. I have no idea what happened to him there, and that has caused a very unfortunate retirement. That is now the safety car out in this race. That's going to allow people to put in the pits, put on a fresh set of medium compact tyres and go to the end. But very bizarre, and this is very strange Portuguese Grand Prix, I must say. I don't know what was going on.
Turn up into this one.
Yeah.
Mids, I doubt he'll be too happy with what's happened. So some pits onto the set of hard tyres, his first stop of the race. But yeah, so I'm sure Minty won't be too happy with what's going on. He built a 3-second lead over Griffiths, and now it's all gone to pot. But he's still leading the way, and the question is, what will these soft tyre runners do in terms of strategy? Because it's almost getting to that first pit window, so I wouldn't be surprised if they all made their way in. The medium runners will be in a good position, particularly Ricci and Race Roller.
Yeah, well, the likes of Jib Jab, who's on the Kevin as well, is going to be fuming because this is right on the soft tyre pit window. So yeah, they're all going to pit for fresh tyres, and Jib Jab have to go into the hards. Or I don't know, soft won't go to the end, so yeah, it's a difficult position for the medium runners. I'll see what Jib Jab does. Jib Jab is going to pit. Yeah, it could pit for hards and then go onto the mediums again. I know someone who we won't mention has been kicked from the server who won Austria last season. Did the same thing. He pit onto hards and then pit onto mediums, won that race. I won't mention his name because of what he did. Yeah, that's what I say. Yeah, he's probably going to pit for mediums. He's probably going to pit for mediums in the next lap. Or I'd imagine so anyway, because I know that's what people do. Because you do a lap on a different set and then you can go to the end on another set of mediums. Or I presume that's what you do. He won't take the soft, 22 laps.
Definitely. definitely not. But he maybe plans to go for a on the soft second stint and try to set mediums. Perhaps around lap 22 or so. But I doubt these soft cars go any more than.
I think he'll pit straight away. He'll pit again on the safety car. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. There's a good chance. Yeah, absolutely. That's what there's a good chance to just do that. I'm just considering alternatives. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, I'm just thinking what he should do. I'm thinking what you're thinking for the culture point of view. I'm thinking of what the driver point of view.
yeah. That's the thing you've got that insight because you've done this for a season. How many seasons did you do in the McKeon doing in particular?
This is McKeon division was my first time in the SLR server. That was my first ever season in this league. I got straight up to the big league, and I think I've done alright. I missed 5 races due to an injury, and I don't know, but I'm in Division 1 for this season, and I've really enjoyed my time in this league, and getting involved with the esports team and doing this commentary. I've really enjoyed the server, and I did enjoy the McKeon division, although it was frustrating at times. But that's what happens in the league recently. I really enjoyed the server, and if he's in the stream, shout out to Darnell for putting me in this league. As Jim Jones pit, like we said, onto the set mediums, and he's going to go into the race.
You were right then.
Yeah.
I can never be on this. I have insane amount of respect for what these guys do week in, week out, and just keeping clean with all of it. I mean, I've only ever done a league race once, and technically I shouldn't have been doing it because I was. I was
putting safety car.
Oh,
that's not ideal. Kevin's racing from bad to worse. I'm still confused what happened. I think Kevin's controller disconnected, was well disconnected, and that directly caused Monkey's retirement, unfortunately. But
if I look in the Discord chat, he might have said something about it. I'm not quite sure. I'll have a look here.
Well, I'm sure Monkey will say what he thinks.
The looks of it, nothing.
Yeah. So I think that'd be stewards.
Yeah, we'll assume for right now that his will is disconnected. That's the only logical explanation, really. But yeah, so I only ever done one league race, and technically I shouldn't have even been doing it because I was filling in for my friend without them knowing I was on his account. I mean, it's kind of cheating. It is cheating, to be honest. But he had to pull out last minute, and I was able to replace him. I did it right.
Sent the guy somewhere in the slap.
All right, here we go. Then. Right, now that the TED Talk is finished, we can get back to the racing. So it's Mitzi in control then with Griffiths in second and Crispy in third. Natural order about to be resumed on this restart. Now, will Mitzi try and back him up, or will he try and just develop a lead? Have to see what he goes. I think he's just trying to get out there and go racing. Although he doesn't want to be, he wants to catch people napping if he can, especially Griffiths behind him. He doesn't want him to get a good jump, or at least a better jump than he does in that McLaren. So we'll keep an eye on Mitzi as we roll on board with Griffiths down this last corner. Mitzi has kind of caught him napping here on this restart. It's not as much of an advantage as he would have wanted. Yellow flag already.
I don't know why. Finished the game glitch. As Ogween and Corey can go side by side. Just know why that's going to send it. That's going to force Crispy offline. And Logan's going to go round the outside of Crispy, or Corey, sorry. It's kind of boxed in by Crispy as Corey sends it down the inside of turn 4, and they go side by side. And Corey just about keeps the position, so they stay as they were, but still battling there in the first sector. Ogwin go down the inside turn 5. Always make contact with Corey down. So I think he gets damaged. I think it's lucky, and there's more battling behind him with Power and Zyra as well. But crucially this time, Mitzi has actually not pulled out a gap to Griffiths yet. It's closer than what it was on the opening lap. Because by now it was like 7 taps, I think. So yeah, Griffiths doing better than we did in the first stint.
Definitely, that getaway. Mitzi didn't get. Mitzi got a good getaway, but Griffiths didn't get as bad of one as Mitzi would have hoped he did. So that as of right now, the gap is around half a second, and Griffiths been using that ERS bit by bit on the exit of some corners in order to keep him there. Sem gets to get the 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So that's unfortunate for him.
Also spins. So he spun at the same corner what they did in the first stint in Sam's race. But despite having safety car which back in it, Sam's race again, it's going to be bad to worse. His tyre's going to be cooked, he's spun again. So yeah, Sam's race not going very well, and I would imagine he might retire in the pits very shortly.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. His race is...
Joe goes past Kevin. I noticed Kevin and Sam. I know Sam's already in race with him, but I noticed because of the time penalty in P13. As I was going to say, Kevin is on the hards, and Sam was on the hards, although he isn't really racing anymore. All Kevin gets out of shape, and Sam's going to if Forrest going to panic with speed in the pit, and it usually means that's a retirement. It is. It's also Power's going to pass Ogwin whilst I'm waffling. So Power moving up into P5 that past the Rebel, who's not having the best race. Is Mr. Ogwin. Not the race he would have hoped for.
Definitely. Right, so pushing further on then. So Sam, of course, unfortunately out of the race. His race went far enough down the kitchen sink for him to call it a day. So down to just 15 runners in this Portuguese Grand Prix, 14 of them on medium tyres and one of them on a set of hards. As Midzi is trying to get out of DRS range with Griffiths just behind him. I mean, he's almost out of it there. He's got until the entrance of turn 3, if I'm not mistaken, to really get close enough to stay in range. Mid sets fast up there, 18.099. Great lap there from the McLaren driver. Just starting to see the sun peek out from behind the clouds as the DRS goes back online here for lap number 15. We're nearing the halfway stage of this one, and it's still the McLaren driver in control. He's led every single moment so far. So right now he's just holding on to that lead. Griffith has DRS on him this time, but I doubt he'll have much effect because he's almost a second in front of him anyway. So this is purely for him to stay in range. And he's going on behind them.
As Crispy and Corey don't have DRS either, so Crispy's a second behind Griffiths and Corey's a second behind Crispy. So yeah, both his P1, 3 and 4 don't have DRS, at least for now, unless they can get back up in it, of course. As Ogwin is close to losing DRS to Power. It's actually over a second now, so Ogwin's had to use his battery to get back up in that 1 second window, and he's been getting put under pressure from Zydrad in the AlphaTauri, who started further down the field than what he wanted in P9, considering the pace that we know he had from last season. Of course, this red is of course very competitive, as Griffiths actually kept in DRS, I think, if he uses the battery. Should do so, yeah. Griffiths has got a slight challenge, you know. Mitzi put out DRS last time, but Griffiths might be able to challenge him in the coming laps.
Down the main straight they come.
Power's going to pass Corey.
Main straight, Power to the right hand side, breezes past the Williams to that first corner, and there he goes up into 4th place. But Corey's going to be right there trying to capitalise when they make their way up through turn 4. Griffiths is closed in now. The gap is around 6.5 tenths between the two leaders as of right now. Griffiths is stuck in that limbo because he's the second and a half behind Griffiths and the second and a half in front of Power, who's being chased by Corey and the Williams still, but unable to close in and make any form of move. Ogwin still holding off Zydrad for the time being. He's got Aston Martin crowding behind him. Combat 9th and Connor running out the top 10 as it stands. We've got Rizzi on his tail and Race Roller down there in 12th, just trying to fight back.
Yes, as Corey is now a lot closer. He was actually close to losing the rest of Power, but now he is actually very close to overtaking them, as we saw in the previous lap. As I saw Cunningham and Pellery there, but he's still in 3 seconds as for now, as we're entering the halfway stage of this race. As let's see, Corey can set up a move on Power of P4 this race. As Corey is not getting the best start to a corner there, it's actually going to a lot of time to Power, but of course have the DRS, which is very powerful down this main straight here in Portimao. As he opens his DRS to see whether he's going to challenge Power into turn 1. He isn't telling us batteries, I don't think he is. As crucially, that was set for the battle at the front. Griffiths is closing on the Mitzi, and Mitzi doesn't have any battery. He actually has 3% less than Griffiths. I know this is sad or not, but if you run out of battery, all those little 1-2% can make all the difference. As Griffiths is definitely in for a fight for the lead, maybe he didn't have, but if it wasn't a safety car.
Yeah, definitely, because we do relish the race for the top spot. Should it continue, should it get any closer than it already is. Of course, Griffiths' main aim right now is to stay inside of that DRS range. And right now he's doing that. The gap around 3/4 of a second, 7 tenths as it stands. Go further through sector number 2 into turn 10 now. Both cars get on the curb, nice and easy. Single files that make their way through. Crispy pulled away now from Power, and Corey has lost time to that hatch driver in front of him. He's probably more focused on trying to get past Ogwin, Ogwin trying to defend from the Red Bull behind him, as well as trying to chase the Haas in front. Of course, Ogween has Zygo all over him, so it could be a tough task.
Yes, as Connor is now next person to lose DRS, he's lost DRS to combat, so that might allow Rixie to be able to get past Connor into turn 1. They've got still nice battery, I don't think Rixie's going to use this though, so Connor is going to stay in P10 for now, although he is now out of battery as Jib gets past Mercs into turn 1, so that's him now into P13, and then chasing after, one who's having a very bad day is Racer 22 in the McLaren.
Definitely not doing too well, not the kind of result he would have wanted today as it stands. There's still a fair amount of time to go. We're nearing being 2/3 away through the race. We're getting close to that at this point. And Griffiths is even closer this time than he was around the last time. The gap was around 3/4 of a second, around 7/10 from the last time. Now we're looking at 4/10. So it's getting incredibly tight here in the race for that top spot. And we'll keep an eye on these two as they make their way down the main straight. Griffiths still has 5% more ERS than Mitzi does, or at least around that. Because as you said, Arvin, I mean, when you both run out of battery, it doesn't sound like a lot, but those extra 3 to 5% can be crucial in getting, in just getting past people, especially in the late stages of the Grand Prix. Here they come, they're making their way to the last corner. We could be seeing a side-by-side race for the lead. Does Griffiths elect to use his battery? He doesn't, but I think the toe with the DRS might just be enough. Mitzi only has 6% left. They charge down the main straight. Griffiths is looking. He's going to the right-hand side, trying to get clean air into that first corner. They now run nose to tail on the exit of turn 1 into turn 3. They come now, one behind the other as they make their way back up the hill. Mitzi still with the lead. A good exit from Griffiths could give him the audience that he needs to try and go for that move. The DRS is doing its job, but that'll be enough. Unless he goes very audacious on the brake, he's not going to. Stays in line, and Mitzi holds on to the lead for another lap. Of course, that worry is still there, that doubt. Any mistakes, and he will lose the top spot without a doubt unless he spins here and takes Griffiths with him. Here they come through turn 8. Of course, Christie trying to close back in as Griffiths get all out of shape on the exit of turn 8. Definitely think of the kind of exit he would have wanted. The gap's still around 4/10, so it's all good on that front. I mean, I'm going to look back further through the field here as Corey has completely lost touch with the top 4. He's now holding off Ogween for fifth place right now. Oh, what are your thoughts, mate?
Well, thankfully, I'm battle at the front, like we said. Griffiths putting the Mitzi all under pressure. Something I was saying Mitzi's race is very similar to what happened in Bahrain, just him cruising in the front, but Griffiths putting Mitzi all under pressure in the AlphaTauri. Let's see whether he can make a move into turn 1 as he's getting DRS, not using his battery, or at least not yet, as Mitzi's light is flashing. That means he's under 10%. So. And Mitzi holds on the lead for turn 1. Griffiths isn't really interested in getting past this is just yet. Remember, he's still got 14 laps to go, so he can play. You know, if he plays his cards right and waits for the right moment, he will be able to take the lead. As I'm waffling again, I'm trying to get my words out. Well, Griffiths is still putting Mitzi under pressure, although Mitzi's holding firm for now. I noticed, like we said, that Corey's lost DRS to power and losing touch on the top 4. And I've noticed that Ogween has a lot more battery than Corey, much more than the lead guys. So we should see him move for P5 very shortly. And I won't lie, the safety car has kind of ruined strategy. So as all these drivers go to the end, we won't see any more pit stops to the end of the race, which is kind of ruined strategy, which was kind of hoping to spice this race a bit, but. It's still been fair. It's always Racer makes a move of Wrigley into turn 10. Actually, a very good move from Racer. He's going to lose the rest of the corner though. And let's see. Let's go for a sector. Let's see whether he stays with DRS. He might. So yeah, a good move from Roller, and he's up to 11 and chasing corner for that final points paying position. Every point counts in the championship. He needs all the points he can get, as he's currently also behind Mitzi. His teammates had a very good day so far in P1. That might change as Griffiths stays behind him in turn 1. But yeah, I won't lie, this race is already better than what it was last season. As he races against a real potential Roller, because Roller didn't get a difference on the main straight. So these guys are battling, and Roller will be very frustrated with Rixie at the moment, as Rixie actually pulls a bit of a gap in turn 4. They gets all out of shape in the front wide, all that race Roller. They're able to make a move. He's got DRS. Both of them don't have battery. Race is going to defend the inside. Roll's going to go round the inside turn 5. They bang wheels. But will Rixie push Roller off the track? He doesn't. Nice route given that from Rixie. They can still be side by side, however, into turn 6 and turn 7. Roll the inside, Rixie with the outside. Rixie can go for a switchback, but Rixie, stays behind in turn 8, and stays in P11, P12 and P11 respectively. Sorry. As yeah, the gap between the top two is half a second again. I think Griffiths is going to recharge his battery. Is all we can do, because obviously he's the car behind. He's more likely to save his battery. Wait to the final stage of this race. Let's see whether we can make a move. P5 has been waiting quite a long while. This is probably could have make a move a bit earlier if he wanted to try and get challenge the Haas cars for the podium, but he doesn't seem too bothered about taking in P5 or P6, sorry, and Corey is keeping P5 for now.
Alright, sounds very entertaining. Still keeping on with this battle for the top spot. Griffiths didn't get the best of exits out of turn 3. Mizzy's gone away. The gap's still around 4 tenths. And just keep these two in mind. This battle is not over yet, or in fact it's barely started. And don't look now, but I'm pretty sure Crispy is closing in bit by tiny bit. So when these two probably start battling, going side by side position, I probably should say if, and that's a very big if this one actually gets going. But yeah, Crispy closing in. The gap now just under 1.5 seconds. Para's been twisting back to him. It's still Corey holding off Ogwin, who got a little bit screwy there on the exit of turn number 8. So Steve still holds on to P6, still holding off Zyjan now. AlphaTauri, Callings is behind him, Combat in 9th, and Connor around it on top 10 with the reigning drivers champion Race Roller still back down in 11th place. Still keeping an eye on Midzy and Griffiths. The AlphaTauri drivers dropped back a little bit there in sector number 3, so I doubt he'll be taking on have a chance to take the lead this time. Still a very poor Midzy run through sector number 1, so we'll still wait for these guys for the time being. We'll have a look now at see what else is going on. So keep an eye on Ogwin and Corey, who are still battling here for that 5th spot. If Ogwin used some of his ERS, I think he should be able to get past without a fight, if I'm being entirely honest. We'll have to see what things look like when they off turn 4 the next ERS zone. So Ogwin's right behind the Williams driver here. They're on nose to tail there, and Azarjad's falling back a little bit. They're down now 8 tenths. Here they come now. These two very different exits to turn number 3. And it looks like they're kind of neutral for the time being. Ogwin could try and go for it down the inside. He's using his DRS. I think he's going to go for it this time. He's going to drag around the long way through turn 5. They go side by side. Corey has the lead in that position. About half a car there through turn 6. There's a bit of contact there. Up into the double right of 7 and 8. And Ogwin takes the place, becoming incredibly close to wiping Corey's front wing off there. So you have to be careful on that front. Zyjad trying to get back into this one. He's about half a second, just under half a second behind. So keep an eye on that for the time being. Corey just will be trying to get that place back. Of course, he's got about the same amount of battery. Keep an eye on Zyjad, who's got about half his battery left. So he'll be a major player in these late stages. So there's a lot to keep an eye out here in the final third of this Grand Prix.
As I think Midzy is now putting on the race pace. He's almost out of DRS again. So as Griffiths has also had to use the battery. So I think Midzy is now using another gear, as you could say. Although of course Griffiths is going to gain around 4 tenths per second every single lap because of that DRS, because it's so powerful on this game. So yellow flag.
Kevin.
That is Kevin on the hards, not having a good day. Of course, always whatever happens, his controllers will disconnect. So yeah, Kevin not having a good day. As Jab and Reese are going to go side by side, and Reese gets pushed off the track with Jab. And they're going to go to turn 3. Will Reese fight back? I think he's going to go for a switchback and maybe try and make a move into turn 5. Jab was quite low on the ERS here and runs wide, but we'll see whether I think Reese is going to stay by. It was battle for P5 again. That is Corey and Ogwin going side by side again. Same thing happened on the previous lap. Ogwin wants to keep the position this time, so they've taken Corey. Ogwin keeps the position and stays in P5, and Corey runs wide in turn 8. Will that mean I'd reckon maybe turn 10 maybe? Gets a run, but he's going to stay single fire for now. But yeah, Ogwin now has a 4-second gap to catch to Power Quicks, which in the remaining laps is going to be very difficult.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look at the gap between them. It's going to be very
always spin the
Zyjad goes round in the AlphaTauri, and that will just up him out the points. Notch up Race Roller, the reigning drivers champion, up into the points paying places now. It's only 1 point, but it's a start. He's got 8 more laps in order to try and make up more places. Keeping an eye on the battle up front between Midzy and Griffiths. The gap's still around half a second here. Both these guys on those medium tyres have done the same amount of laps, of course, because both pitted on that safety car at the same time. Griffiths still has been chasing the orange McLaren in front of him, has been unable to make that move. He's still got more ERS. He's still not by much, but it's still very tight, and we are waiting for this battle to really get underway. Crispy is still, it doesn't look like he's still closing in a little bit. The gap is
I think it's the same gap. Yeah, I think it was 1.
Yeah.
It's 1.6 last time I checked. There's Connor picks up a time penalty. That might cost him a point or 2 points in this race, and that's not what I want to see from a Red Bull driver this season. But yeah, Connor picking up a penalty. As he gets another warning from running wide, I presume, at turn 7. So yeah, Connor. That could cost them P9 and possibly points in this race. Same with Crowding actually, although Crowding's got a bit more of a gap. But yeah, race will gain the free position penalty. From Connor's penalty, so I think Connor's got to hope everyone else picks up a penalty with him as well. The gap between Griffiths and Mitzi is actually smaller than what it was in the previous lap, I think. So let's see where Griffiths is interested. Mitzi pulls over to the right hand side to break the toe, so Griffiths doesn't get any slipstream going towards turn 1. As Griffiths isn't interested, and he will stay E2 for now. There's the 2 Haas cars and very boring races in P3 and P4 respectively. Similar to what happened, a lot of this race actually similar to what happened in Bahrain, Mitzi being in front and the 2 Haas cars being P3 and P4, and Ogre being in P5 actually. So yeah, very similar to what happened in Bahrain. Yeah, deja vu, yeah. As Corey might be able to make a move, although Crowley's actually more interested. He's got a little more battery as well. Crowley's going to go around the outside. Or Corey's going to push Crowley off the track, maybe a bit too much there. Crowley actually overtakes Corey off the track, and then the Williams driver will be happy with that. Crowley, whether it's legal or not, Crowding does get P6, although he does have that time penalty, which will infuriate Corey even more, because obviously Crowding had that 3-second penalty, as Crowding's going very slowly as well, so that could be awkward to put out a DRS. Corey would be absolutely fuming with the Aston Martin driver at the moment. That's where I was going to finish anyway. But Corey now probably try and overtake the Aston Martins.
Corey losing control.
And he's going to get a 3-second penalty as well for his trouble. Yeah, but that's going from Bounce versus Combat. It's going to make up a position to P7. And Combat is in net P6, and I believe he started in P14. If I'm not mistaken, it started quite low. He got down to Q2, I think. So Combat had another good performance. He got driver of the day in Imola last week, and he's doing another good performance as Combat. So very good for him.
I have to start calling this the race day at this point, because he definitely, no matter what he gets in qualifying, he always starts picking himself up, dusting himself off and keeping on going. Because I mean, these points finishes, if he starts keeping on up, he could
he's gained 7.
Good run.
He's gained 7 places from starting P14, like I said, and he's going to gain 8 from Crowden's penalty. He might get more if people make more mistakes. So, and also crucially, that's another position for Race Roller with Corey's penalty as well. So Race Roller is currently in the net P8, I believe, unless Corey can get out of 3 seconds of Race Roller. It's not too bad. The combat in this race so far. I don't jinx him. I'm very good at commentators cursing. I hope I didn't do that to him. Crowding so far doing very well. The gap between Mids and Griffiths is still 7 tenths in this race.
And this time Griffiths is starting to follow Mids over to the right hand side a little bit more, just to try and potentially gain some of that switching. He's plugging in big time now to make their way down towards turn 1. The gap once again about 3.5 tenths to make their way to the first corner. I think Griffiths went over the curb a little bit there, so he's lost a small amount of time. The exit, the run through 3 and 4 is going to be crucial as to whether Mitzi gets a good run and pulls away or not.
Roller's going to get Connor here. Boy, he's looking at it, just about Connor just about holding on. Roller backed away from a move in the end. Decided not to pressure Connor. It's a decision I would make as well. Not having the Red Bull turn. Yeah, not having the Red Bull turn into turn 1. But Race Roller looking very interested. There's also Crowding gets spot green as well. So Crowding's not having a penalty. Clearly making his interest to make some moves, and he needs to get hard up the grid as possible to alleviate his penalty, as he gets all that ship at turn 8, but that might allow Ogween to get involved again. But Ogween always a yellow flag. I think that's Kevin. Yeah, Kevin again not having a good day, because that's the Martin teammate is in a good position to score some points. So he has got that penalty in his back, of course. And we're on lap 28 already. This race is flown by, despite having a safety car.
Yep, definitely. And I am personally waiting for Griffith to be used to the ERS he's got left, as Mitzi once again goes back over to the right hand side. Sorry, as his routine, making his way down towards turn 1. The DRS being deployed now for the AlphaTauri into that first corner. Kevin gets hit with another penalty at 6 seconds to his name now. Another 3 second one for multiple warnings. The gap still around half a second between the two leaders here as they charge back up the hill towards turn number 4. Look around here, Ogween still try and get past Crowding. He's about 3/10 behind, and I mean, Crowding is currently backing Organ up into Combat, who as of right now will be finishing P6. That could be P5. Should he get past the Red Bull, or should the Red Bull pick up a penalty?
That's not the battery as well. If you look at the battery, Combat has 50% more. Yeah, so Combat's doing very well. Another good race 10 performance from Combat. Of course, there's still laps to go, so they could all change. But you know, Combat so far put number 7 up, probably see what he did in Imola. And I would say in more challenging circumstances as well, he didn't have the alternate strategy to rely on, of course, because they had the alternate strategy last week. Yeah, Combat is doing very well. Crowding in front of Combat is holding up this train similar to what he did in the first stint when he was in P3 and let the top two sort of pull away in this race. And Crispy is 1.3 seconds or just then, so he might get a DRS very soon if he can keep up this pace. The gap is closing slowly. So Griffiths is also out of VRS. Well, actually, all the top 3 are out of VRS. Well, actually, I think all these drivers are out of VRS for Combat, really. I'll be honest, from what I'm seeing in the battery levels. So Combat doing very well to reach a charge to save his battery around a difficult circuit to save VRS.
Yeah, I'm in a very good position here for these last 4 laps of Grand Prix.
As Roller gets Connor, but they've got that position anyway, but Roller needs to capitalise on the penalties in front of him. So Roller now up to P9. As the Sims moves down into turn 5.
He passes Hydra behind him in the race for that top spot. And Jibjab trying to pass Connor as they make their way down.
Left flag, that's
Kevin
Kevin
again. Kevin once more spins on the exit of turn number 13, or between 13 and 14 there. Jibjab almost tapping the back of the Red Bull, just give it a little love tap there to make their way through the exit of turn 5. So he's going to keep things nice and easy here. I think the crucial fact for some of these guys who are running in places where they can capitalise on other people's penalties is to not get any penalties of their own. Combat's doing a great job of doing a clean race from start to finish. He can't put his head down now. He can't let that change over the course of his next 3.5 laps. There's not too long left to go, and a penalty now would put all that hard work to nothing, and a chance to take more places to be lost. Mitty's been kind of slow on the way down the main straight.
Yeah, speaking of the penalties, Griffiths has 2 warnings and Mitty has 1. So if Griffiths gets another warning, that'll be him dropping into P3. Thankfully for him, Parrot is at the ball of his own. You know, he's just driving by himself in the house, just second race in P4 really. But if Griffiths gets a penalty, I didn't check Crispy's warning. I will do in a second. I'll see how many warnings Crispy's got. He has. Wow. He's had 2 warnings from lap 3.
Right.
So that'd be very good. Yeah, that would be very good for Crispy if he can not get a penalty.
Oh, Crispy can hit the penalty.
There we go.
And that might just be the race, as Midzi is the only one who can. Griffith's the only one who can really stop Midzi. So short of Midzi spinning out and Griffith's developing a 3-second lead, that might just be it. And I think now.
Jibjab spins.
Jibjab's around, and he's taking Wixie with him.
Yeah, it's been a crash, I believe at turn 5 from Jibjab Grizzly, so it's not good for him. But yeah, sorry Griffiths for jinxing you there. I literally, as soon as I bring it up, you get a penalty, so yeah.
Let's hope he doesn't blame us for this.
Yeah, I'm sure Mitzi will be absolutely smiling in that McKeon cockpit.
Off the last
as
corner
he's
now.
gonna. Yeah, I think Griffiths is gonna be more desperate to make a move now. Yeah, he's gonna be more desperate.
Oh, he's getting very close here through turn 1. That's the closest they've been this entire time. A good. Oh, he's gone a bit. He went a bit too late before turning in to turn 3, but he's still right there. So this could be a change in hands for the race lead. Of course, Mitty at this point looks to be winning the race. Will Griffith make that dive? No, he won't. He doesn't have to make that lunge just yet, but he's still right there. He doesn't want to lose any more time than he has to, and Crispy is closing in a little bit. He'll finish second by the looks of things. So Griffith will be finishing 3rd coming into the race, short of a spin late on this one that will allow Paraquicks to get on the podium. But right now, it does look like Midsy's race. Short of any mistakes in the McLaren driver, he's on course to take his 2nd victory in the opening 3 rounds of the season, extending that advantage at the top of the table. And I think I'll keep my eye on this battle for the last lap, because I do get the feeling that Griffiths will want to try and just take the race on track. That is what most drivers will tend to do, though he doesn't want to risk anything at the same time. So it's a bit of a weird place to be in. We'll keep an eye on that as Midzy makes his way through the penultimate corner to start the final lap of this Portuguese Grand Prix. He's driven a class race from start to finish, and now he's on course to finish it off. 1 more lap to go in the McKeon division race for this week. Back towards.
There we go then.
back towards turn 1. Griffiths is out of ERS. He's made the charge into that first corner. I honestly thought he was going to plough straight into the back of Midzi. Will he go for it at any point? He's got to get some of that ERS back. They've got about the same amount now as Crispy's closing it a little bit. Griffiths might go for it if he gets a good exit here. He's using that battery. Here we go. This is what we wanted to see. About this one. Will he look to the inside? He does go to the inside. Here we go. Can we see a change in the race lead on track? Midzi holding it around the outside, and that might just be it in the way of winning the race on track. It's not over yet though. It might be, but you never know what could happen. Into turn 8, Midzi needs no mistakes here in order to pull this one off. Crispy right behind them. He's getting to within the DRS range now. It won't change. He'll still finish second on that front. But I do think that Griffiths will want to try and win this thing on track if he can. But I think he may have just lost his chance going down into turn 5. And that does look like it's going to be Midzi walking home with another victory this season. And he's driven a fantastic race from lights to flag, and he's thoroughly deserving of this one. I don't think anyone really denied him from pole to from start of qualifying one all the way to the end of this one. He's driven superbly, and he makes his way through the last corner now towards the line. And Midzi 15 wins for the second time this season here in Portugal. Griffiths will come home in third place, Crispy in second. Paraquicks will finish in fourth for Haas. Another decent points haul for them. A total, if I'm not mistaken, of 30 points for Haas's championship charge. Crowding comes home in what will be, by the looks of it, 7th place. Ogwin in 5th, and Combat comes home in 6th. We're quite able to beat him. Here comes Race Roll over the lines to take P9. Connor will drop down to P11. Merckx in P12. Zydrive takes the final championship point. Jib Jab will come towards the line in 13th. Riggsy in 14th. And Kevin's disaster class of a race, if I'm being entirely honest, will come to an end. He finishes P15. I am sorry, Kevin, if you are watching this at any point, but yeah, it wasn't a good day, unfortunately. But it was a day for this man, Midzi, who takes his second victory in 3 rounds. Arben, mate, what was your thoughts on Midzi's performance today?
Well, I think unstoppable qualifying, and just controlled the race, looking to the Bahrain, just showing, as Riggsy just set the fastest lap there, to take the fastest lap off whoever set that first. But no, look back to Midzi, yeah, just a solid performance, and one to be very happy with. And I think a track that he thinks he knows he should win, and he's going to be happy that he's taking the full 25 points from this race. A track that he probably knows he should.
Definitely.
I'll get the free drive. I'll get 3 drivers in the party.
Combat takes the in-game driver of the day. I think he's well deserving of that title, both from us and from the game. I mean, he put in a great performance as well. It wasn't a podium finish, unfortunately for him, but it was still a very good performance from start to finish. But Midzi then wins for the second time in the Summit League Racing McKeon Division Season 8. Thoroughly deserved victory for McLaren, so congratulations to him for taking that win. Great race all around. I really enjoyed it. I hope you did too. And in just a moment, we'll be getting these guys into the party for a post-race press conference. Arben, how do you want to handle this? Do you want to do who do you want to do?
I'll do P2 and 3, and then if you do Midzi, and then join the party.
Yeah, go on.
I have sent all 3 of them invites. Hopefully they will join.
Wonderful stuff though. So in the meantime, we'll look then at the final results. So Midzi wins it then from Crispy in second, and Griffiths in third. Of course, finished second on track, but just about lost out in the end thanks to that penalty. Paraquicks in 4th, Ogwin in 5th, Combat in 6th, Crowley in 7th, Corey 8th, Racer on 9th, and Zydrive in 10th. SLR Connor takes home 11th place, Merckx in 12th, Jib Jab 13th, Riggsy 14th, Kevin in 15th, and the 3 drivers who failed to finish, Sem, Monkey, and Division. Alright, so now we just wait for everyone to get going. Alright, here we go then.
Right, so I'll do P3, yeah?
Yeah, you do P3 and 2, I'll do P1.
Okay then, so SLR Griffiths or Toby, it was a P3 through in the end, challenging Midzi through the entire of these second stint. Just describe your race and I guess your frustration of getting that 3-second time penalty in the end, which cost you a position.
Yeah, so on the whole, I'm really happy with that race, considering that last season the gap was absolutely massive between the two of us. He pulled out a second on lap 1, and the gap at the end ended up being about 13 seconds. And while the safety car obviously helped me get into DRS and stay there, I think my pace from last season to this season in the race, I'm a lot happy with. Absolutely gutted getting that penalty. It was such a stupid penalty. It's basically on a straight. I went off. I'll try and get it removed. I doubt I would, but I can just try it. But anyway, GG to Midzi. Absolutely insane pace as always. And obviously GG to Crispy. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, unfortunately we did catch a penalty on stream, Toby, so unfortunate for that one. But yeah, congratulations on your P3,
Thank
and
you very much.
what's the next track is Spain, isn't it? How are you feeling for Spain?
Spain is not a track I've done for a while, to be honest. It's been a long while since I've done a league at Spain on this game, so I have no idea. I'll have to do quite a bit of practice. Because for this, I know I'm strong here and I've been busy throughout the week, so I didn't end up doing any practice. But a track like Spain, I'm going to have to find a setup, just make sure I'm in the groove to be able to hopefully challenge for a win next week.
Yeah, so thank you very much, and congratulations on your P3. So then we
Thank you
move
very
on
much.
to, yeah, no worries. As we move now on to P2 Crispy, a similar race to what happened in Bahrain, just sitting P3 on track, not quite being with the top two, but of course getting fortunate with Toby's time penalty. Just describe your race and how you've managed the people behind and how, well, how you kept within, I guess, the top two with not having DRS for most of the race, I'll be honest.
No, yeah, you're right. It was yeah. Oh, hold on, I've actually not included my audio. Hold on. There you go, donut. Right, no, yeah. It was, yeah, you're right. It was pretty similar to Bahrain. It wasn't, I say, it wasn't the most thrilling race. The first stint was alright. I think. I definitely felt like I had a bit more race pace than the likes of Crowley and Corey. So being sort of behind them for a little while was slightly annoying, but it is what it is. And then, yeah, I think, yeah, the safety car came, and then obviously, I think, obviously, ideally, I'd have liked to stay in Griffiths' DRS, but I think I made a slight mistake turn two. I think I had like a really big lockup, and that pretty much sealed the deal in terms of staying within the DRS. So yeah, from then on, it was incredibly boring, to be honest. But yeah, obviously, probably should have been P3, but I'll absolutely take the P2. To be honest, I wanna, I wanna win. I wanna win every race I take part in. To be honest, but I think, you know, realistically, I don't. I was never going to beat Mitzi around there. Let's be real. He's cracked around this track. So yeah, P2 obviously is the max I can do, and I'm happy with it. So yeah, we move on to Spain.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Of course, I guess you being by yourself helped with limiting warnings. You didn't really have any pressure for anyone. But yeah, on to Spain. How are you feeling for that one? Do you think you can challenge for a win, or what's your expectations around Spain?
Sort of similar to what I said in my F2 interview the other day. Spain is not. It's not really one of my greatest tracks on the calendar. I've never really been that good at it. But yeah, again, I'm sure with a bit of practice throughout the week, I can hopefully get up to speed. And yeah, obviously, I think the aim will definitely to be on the podium again.
Yeah, well, I don't watch F2, so I didn't see that. But yeah, congratulations on your P2, and congratulations to Mitzi as well. But exactly for indeed Mitzi's interview, and well done to podium runners. I've got to go. Zach, has been a pleasure.
Alright, sounds good, mate.
I'll see you guys next week
Thanks,
for
Donald.
commentary.
Thank you.
No worries.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, mate.
Alright, so we'll move on here to, of course, our race winner, Midzi. Congratulations, first of all. Talk me through the race in your eyes. How did it go for you?
Yeah, it went good. Went really good to be honest. Obviously, I pulled out a DRS to Toby in the first stint, and there was a safety car. Wasn't too bothered by it. I just filled it up. I tried gapping Toby again. I almost did on the restart, but he managed to just stay with me. And then I just, to be honest, I pushed him really hard for those last 15 laps or so, trying to force Toby into a mistake or penalty. And yeah, the gap got up to like 8, 9 tenths towards the end of most laps, and obviously the DRS obviously brought Toby back, but he had a really good pace compared to last season. So,
Could I just ask you, just quick, Midzi, were you using ERS out of the final corner? Because you always seem to gain half a tenth to a tenth every single lap on the exit of the right-hander.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Thought so. Right, so I'll let you continue.
I do want to ask you, Mizzy, about the constant pressure that Griffiths was giving you over the course of that second part of the race. Did you feel at any point he'd be able to catch you with the DRS?
If he managed to save your rest, he probably would have been able to make a move like he tried on the last lap. But that's why I just kept really pushing really hard. As long as I didn't make a mistake, I was forcing Toby to use even just a little bit of ERS. I was forcing him to use enough ERS to keep him behind. So even if he didn't get a penalty, it would have been really close in that final lap.
Yeah, definitely. All right,
Yeah,
so
GG's.
oh my bad. All right, so last question. Obviously, as we've asked these two already, Spain is the next race. What are your expectations? Do you think we can go out there and get another win?
I don't know. We'll have to see. Last season was a pretty close race between me and Power and Roller until Power just pulled away towards the end. So yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. But it's quite a decent track. But so once again, well done to Crispy and well done to Toby.
All right, sounds good. All right, yes, like I said, congratulations to all three of you. All of you drove exceptionally well and deserve your places on the podium. And with that, then, everyone, that is the end of the stream. We do hope you've enjoyed it. Division 1 will be in action tomorrow night for once again for the last race in the Portugal race weekend. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And until next time, I shall see you later. Have a good one, you guys. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.